Built back in the 1870s by pioneers who settled here, the St. George Tabernacle was set up as the cornerstone of the community, hand-honed of brick and stone.
This was the first public building built in St. George. St. George was settled in October 1861. 1 year later, while they're still living in dugouts, sleeping in their tents and buckboards, they started the construction of this building.
In that time, the nearly 150-year-old place of worship has weathered its share of disasters. You can still see where lightning struck inside the attic just a few months ago.
It's been hit by lightning a couple of times. The most recent time is when it was under construction, and the lightning actually hit the scaffolding and then traveled through the building and did just a little bit of damage, but we were able to repair that quickly and move on.
Because St. George lies within a seismic earthquake zone, church leaders wanted to make sure that this historic monument would be able to weather that too. During the renovations, construction crews used steel beams and tied them into the wooden ones already in place.
So we reinforced the walls, the roof, the floors, everything, and tied the whole building together. So if an earthquake happens, the roof and the walls and the floors and the steeple are all one unit and will move together.
Every 4 foot, they drilled a core through that sandstone from the top, clear to the foundation, put rebar in there, and then fill that with epoxy. And so this building now is just solid.
During the more than 2-year period, literally everything bolted to the floors, and even the floors, were taken out and refurbished. Church leaders wanted the tabernacle to look as close to its original concept as when it was first built.
Some of the floor up here, and you can see when you go up, there's on the stand is the original floor, but right here by the piano is new. Back in the back, you'll see is original flooring. So they didn't take all of it out, but they took out what they needed to make it work.
So the pews and the chairs were sent to a shop and were cleaned up and repaired, and the broken pieces were replaced. And so when it came back at the end of the project, everything was clean and new and ready to go back in and get back to work for the next 100 years.
Well, they did a lot of historical research of pictures of what it was like in the building. The crest, the all-seeing eye, has not really changed. It was originally put in 1870, and that has not changed. They found a carpet in New York that was of this vintage in the 1870s, and they had this carpet made for that purpose.
Perhaps one of the biggest projects was removing and renovating the organ. This much-loved building is used by many in the community as a place for entertainment and for its great seating and sound.
We've lived here 35 years and spent a lot of time here with musical productions, and I've actually sang in here quite a few times, so it's fun to see what they've done to get it back to original, what it looked like. But they've done a beautiful job, really beautiful. It looks fresh and the cracks are gone and ready to go for a lot more years.
But it'll be such a joy to be back in this incredibly beautifully remodeled facility with the historic look preserved.
Many who settled here have ties to the historical aspect of this building. This photo of the 5th Ward was taken in 1950. Ralph Atkin is number 82 in this picture.
And when you go back here in the little museum, you'll see a hammer that was used to trim the outside of the rock on this tabernacle. And that hammer has written on it WF, or William Fawcett. That's my great-great-grandfather's Crandall hammer.
With new carpet and fresh paint, the old tabernacle has turned like new again. The St. George Tabernacle will open up on July 30th for public tours, concerts, and lectures.
And all of those other wonderful community events that have happened here for the last 150 years.
And one modern-day thing many are grateful for is the air conditioning.
During the summer, it was very difficult. And I actually attended church here. This was our church building. And so it was not as pleasant as it is today.
Church leaders are hoping this renovation will last the next 150 years. In St. George, Melissa Anderson, CEC News.